Hello and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name is Harriet. Today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free review of The Look of a King by Dumbrell. Now, I've mentioned this book briefly on my channel before, but it is this author's first ever published works, and after reading it I just find that really hard to believe. It's just a really well written book, so I'm excited to share my thoughts with you. So as a bit of background, I actually won this book in a giveaway. So Tom sent it to me and it's signed and everything, which is amazing. I had heard of it briefly before because we follow each other on Bookstagram, and that's how I found this author and found this book. But it is for sale on Amazon. And I don't usually do this for books that are more mainstream and that have a bit more publicity behind them. But because this is the first works by this author, I'm going to leave the book link down below so you can click on it and buy it. I definitely recommend it, and it's just come out in hardback as well. Anyway, let's talk about why I'd recommend it, why I think it's a good book. Basically, this book is about two characters. So we've got Prince Augustus, and he is living in the capital where this is set, and basically he is next in line for the throne. And then we are also following a storyteller named Cyrus, and he lives in a neighbouring village. And they are two extremely different characters. So Prince Augustus is very headstrong and very driven. He knows what he wants, he gets exactly what he wants, he's very spoiled. Whereas Cyrus, because he's living in this small village, he has to sort of fend for himself a little bit, but he's also not very confident with doing things like that. And he's also a storyteller. So he likes to create stories and tell stories and share them with the people in the village around him, as well as his younger sister Fran. Now, there is a history behind how Cyrus met Fran because they aren't actually blood relatives. But they are brother and sister, and their relationship with each other, their friendship and their strong family bonds is just amazing. It was one of my favourite parts of the book, actually. I feel like it really drove Cyrus's character and gave us an idea of the exact kind of person that he is. But yeah, Cyrus is definitely not as headstrong. He comes up with scenarios in his head of things that he wants to do, but then when it comes to doing it, he gets scared and nervous, and he's a tiny bit of a coward, to be honest, when you first meet him, but you can't help but love him, particularly in contrast to Augustus, because Prince Augustus is a very hard character to like, but it's enjoyable reading his side of the story. And I won't say too much about the plot, but basically these two characters end up meeting, and we are following them on their journey. Now, people are calling this a fantasy book, but I'm not sure if you can call it that because there isn't any like magic or strange creatures or things like that. To me, I would say this is like historical fiction, but I'm probably wrong. I'm not very good at putting books into genres and boxes and things like that. But it's basically set in a medieval setting, and you've got kings, queens, sword fights, things like that. There's also things like assassinations. We've got a lot of political tension in here and intrigue, which is super interesting. There's just a lot going on, and I found it really fascinating and really enjoyable. The character development, I think, is one of the strongest points at the start of the book. Now, I was talking to the author and they said that the feedback they got most of the time was that it was quite slow to begin with. Honestly, for me, I didn't find this. It definitely picks up at the end of the book. There's a lot more going on and there's a lot more at stake. But you don't want that from the get-go when you're reading a book, at least I don't. I would prefer to get to know the characters a bit more. And it's not like it's for a long time. I mean, this book is 260 pages long. It gets into the action really quickly. So I personally didn't find it slow at all. As soon as I read the first chapter, I was hooked. But maybe people have different expectations from this than what I did. I didn't know an awful lot about it going in. I just thought that it looked nice, to be honest. The front cover is beautiful. And I like that it's a slightly larger book. It feels really nice to hold. So yeah, the character development was amazing, but so was the plot. It was really adventurous. There's a lot of questions being asked, and then you eventually get the answers. So it's kind of mysterious as well. And just overall, I just found it really heartwarming, and it was a lot of fun. Again, adventurous, perfect to read in the summertime. This is such a great summer read. It just made me feel really good, and I didn't want to put it down. And it was also a really short read, which is nice. So overall, I gave this 5 stars. This is one of the best books I've actually read in a really long time that isn't like a really well-known classic. A lot of shorter books and books that I've personally read that aren't mainstream or really popular or anything like that, I haven't really enjoyed recently, but this one was just incredible. I really enjoyed it. I think it's got a little bit of something for everyone, unless you're into like hard sci-fi or hard horror or anything like that. But I feel like it would be appropriate for anyone, and I would say that it is YA as well. So if you've got any younger siblings, or if you yourself are in your teens, I feel like you would really, really love this. And it'd be a perfect way to kind of sink your teeth into a little bit of historical fiction. And I do think that if you enjoyed this, that you would enjoy reading fantasy as well. So yeah, a 5-star book. I believe that the sequel is coming out in October of this year, so 2021. And the series is called Pillars of Peace. So this is book 1. I don't know how many books there's going to be, but I hope there are loads because I'm going to read them. I definitely will be buying the second book as soon as it comes out. And you can also get in hardback, so I'm going to assume that the second one, if it does okay, will also be a hardback. But yeah, that is my review of The Look of a King by Tom Dumbrell. Please go pick this up, and if not, go and check out their Instagram. I will leave it down below so you can have a little look. But that is it from me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!